Did you know? Small initial changes can lead to dramatically different outcomes. The phrase entered popular culture after a 1972 lecture by meteorologist Edward Lorenz, who used a butterfly as a metaphor to explain chaos theory. Not magic, but sensitivity to initial conditions. It's not about one tiny event causing a major outcome. It's about how fragile systems magnify small triggers. Chapter 1. The 1914 Sarajevo route change. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand's motorcade in Sarajevo made a wrong turn due to a miscommunication about the planned route. This wasn't a driver's error, but a breakdown in communication. The route had changed, but the new instructions failed to reach the chauffeur. When the car stopped to reverse, Gavrilo Princip, one of several conspirators already involved in an earlier failed attack, suddenly found himself face to face with the Archduke. The assassination itself didn't cause World War I. It triggered a chain of diplomatic ultimatums and military mobilizations among the great powers. Alliances and years of rising tension had created a fragile system where this one trigger exploded into global war. The turn didn't create the war, but it set the spark in a powder keg of pre-existing tensions. History's first domino. So delicate, it could have been avoided with clear communication. Chapter 2. The 1942 Midway Code Break. In 1942, the Japanese Navy relied on the encrypted JN-25 code, which US cryptanalysts had partially deciphered. When Japanese messages referred to a target called AF, US intelligence confirmed it was Midway by sending a falsified radio message about a water shortage at the atoll. This brilliant deception, not a single lazy update, allowed the US to confirm the attack location. Armed with this insight, the US Navy ambushed the Japanese fleet. The US sank 4 aircraft carriers, severely weakening Japan's ability to project naval power in the Pacific. The battle's outcome wasn't due to a code error, but a strategic intelligence operation. The Butterfly's Wing. A single, calculated radio message. The Storm. The Pacific War's irreversible shift toward American victory. Chapter 3. The 1945 Hiroshima Weather Decision. On August 6, 1945, Kokura was selected as the primary target for the first atomic bomb because it was the most suitable military target on the approved list. But cloud cover forced a diversion. The B-29 Enola Gay proceeded to Hiroshima, where clear weather allowed the bomb to be dropped using visual targeting. By the end of 1945, an estimated 140,000 people had died as a result. The bombing accelerated Japan's surrender, ushering in the nuclear age. Weather didn't decide the war, but it determined which city bore the immediate cost of a complex decision. The smallest atmospheric shift, a 300-mile journey to the secondary target, changed the course of atomic history. Chapter 4. The 1963 Kennedy Motorcade Route. President John F. Kennedy's Dallas Motorcade Route was publicly announced and designed to pass through Dealey Plaza on the way to a scheduled speech. The required slow turn onto Elm Street, required by the street layout leading to the Trade Mart, reduced the vehicle's speed, creating a moment of vulnerability. Lee Harvey Oswald exploited this slowness from the Texas School Book Depository. The assassination shocked the nation and permanently altered American political and cultural life. The route change wasn't random. It was a logistical detail that, in a fragile security system, became a critical vulnerability. A single, slow turn. A moment of contingency that reshaped an entire generation. Chapter 5. The 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion. In April 1961, approximately 1,400 Cuban exiles landed at the Bay of Pigs in a CIA-backed attempt to overthrow Fidel Castro. The invasion failed due to flawed planning, insufficient air support, and inaccurate intelligence, not weather conditions. Its collapse pushed Cuba closer to the Soviet Union, setting the stage for the Cuban Missile Crisis the following year. The failure wasn't a weather event, but a systemic breakdown in military coordination. The Butterfly's Wing. A series of decisions that limited air cover. The Storm. A year of geopolitical tension that nearly sparked a global war. A complex chain, not a single blunder, altered the 1960s. Chapter 6. The 1994 Rwandan plane crash. On April 6, 1994, a Falcon 50 aircraft carrying Rwandan President Juvenal Habyarimana was shot down near Kigali. Glatgrave. Responsibility for the attack remains disputed, but within hours, Extremist forces launched a genocide that killed approximately 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutu over 100 days. The crash was the trigger, not the cause, of a genocide that had been meticulously pre-planned. The moment of contingency. A single, unverified missile strike. The storm. A 100-day horror that exposed the fragility of a society already fractured by hatred. History's most tragic trigger. An event that set in motion what had long been intended. Chapter 7. The 1986 Chernobyl safety test. Combined with fundamental design flaws in the RBMK reactor, these actions caused a sudden power surge, explosions, and a catastrophic release of radiation. The disaster didn't stem from one person's haste, but a confluence of systemic failures, flawed procedures, inadequate training, and a reactor design prone to instability. The mass evacuations that followed reshaped global nuclear safety standards. The smallest of triggers. A single, ill-advised test. The largest of consequences. Widespread radioactive contamination across Europe, and a 30-year environmental shadow. Chapter 8. The 1997 Asian Financial Crisis. In 1997, Thailand's decision to abandon its currency peg after exhausting foreign reserves triggered a rapid loss of investor confidence. Capital flight spread across Asia, exposing structural weaknesses in multiple economies and leading to widespread unemployment and business failures. Small financial imbalances, when ignored, can destabilize entire regions. The crisis wasn't caused by a single 3% interest rate cut, but by a series of interlocking market failures. The butterfly's wing, a single country's currency devaluation. The storm, a regional collapse that reshaped global finance. A complex domino effect, not a single spark. Chapter 9, 9/11, Intelligence Failures. Prior to September 11, 2001, US intelligence agencies possessed fragments of information about extremist threats, but failed to effectively share or act on them. These systemic failures allowed the attacks to proceed, killing nearly 3,000 people, and reshaping global politics and security policy. The 9/11 Commission report concluded that no single watch list error existed. The failure was institutional, not clerical. The attacks were the product of fragmented intelligence, not a three-letter typo. The smallest of triggers, a single moment of uncoordinated information. The largest of consequences, the war on terror. A complex chain, not a single mistake. Chapter 10. The 1941 Bismarck radio message. In May 1941, the German battleship Bismarck transmitted radio messages that allowed British forces to determine its location. The ship was sunk days later, killing more than 2,000 sailors and delivering a major strategic blow to Nazi Germany. The sinking didn't cause the US to enter World War II. That was the December 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor. A single transmission revealed too much in a fragile system of naval intelligence. The butterfly's wing, a single radio signal. The storm, a major psychological and strategic blow. A moment of contingency in a system already on the brink.